Jacob is asking, in working on Bitachon, what is the best way to conquer subconscious worry or fear, even when we know that Hashem orchestrated all of it? Example, our company is being put through a hostile takeover, and I accept it. Nevertheless, the new company is requiring us to relocate to either Cleveland or Boston, and we just purchased a new townhouse. I'm confident that no matter what, Hashem orchestrated it, but it's not easy on my wife and kids, and there is pushback. How do you deal with that? Okay. So, in regards to Bitachon in general, it's, as we learned from the Chazon Ish, is that Bitachon is not just having confidence that everything's going to be okay, but rather, and more precisely, is that whatever happens is the best possible thing either way. Meaning, there is no bad. Whatever is the outcome is the best possible outcome that's available to us. So in such a case, when you know that it's not only that it's Hashem that is orchestrating it, but whatever He chooses to give you, whether it's to live in Cleveland or live in Honolulu or wherever it is, whatever happened, that is the best possible thing that could have been, and there was no other choice. Meaning, you should never think, if this didn't happen, then we would have still been in Cleveland. If this didn't happen, then we would still be in New York. No, whatever you have, that's it. And believe me, I'm dealing with it right now. We just moved to Cooper City, and we looked for a bunch of different houses. That was a story of its own. We finally found a house, and we moved into it. It's a nice house, bigger than what we needed, but it was the one that worked for us. And Baruch Hashem, we moved, and we figured, okay, this is going to be it. And we were sure that this made sense because not only the deal worked, but also it was right next to a commercial space for us to open the synagogue that we wanted to build, and so on and so forth. As you would have it, we moved to the house, everything is good with the house, but as I told you in the beginning, the whole synagogue thing didn't work out because the landlord doesn't want a synagogue. So, okay, fine, we figured, okay, let's find another place, go the other direction. That didn't work out either. Okay, let's go a little further. So what's happening now? As of right now, pretty much we have zero next to us. And the only thing that we saw that was a possibility of being available to us is something that's far enough to the point where we're going to have to move again. We have to move again, which is a nightmare. But that's the thing. My wife and I started laughing about it, and despite being concerned, it's like, we finally have a place, we're okay, and everything's okay, and now we have to move again. So what is the bitachon? Bitachon is Baruch Hashem. Why? If we have to move, that means that moving is for our best interest. It is the best possible thing in the world, despite the difficulty. And if we don't have to move, in the end, after all said and done, if it doesn't actually end up happening and we end up finding something else, then that means that worrying about moving this whole time would have been a waste. So that's what I suggest. I suggest that you understand clearly and watch the last two lectures in the Chazon Ish series that we did, the last two especially, because it talks about this topic extensively, is that know that there is nothing that you can do to change the future, if you will, to change the circumstances. You have certain choices available to you that Hashem is, in essence, working with. And whatever happens, whether it's to move to a different state or to stay the same one or whatever it is, that's the best thing available to you, to bring you good, to save you from something, to help you with something. So accept it as this is the gift from Hashem for 1.5 million reasons that I may never know until you meet Him one day after 120. On the other hand, if the choice that he ends up picking is that you don't have to move, then worrying about it this whole time was just a waste. So if your wife says, listen, I'm worried, I don't want to move, I really like this house, we finally have a house, and I don't want to move, simply tell her, honey, we don't know if we have to move right now. Why should we worry about something that hasn't happened yet? On the other hand, if it's you have a confirmation, listen, we got to move, and she says, oh, but I don't want to move. Well, we have to move because of the company has to move. Okay, so how do you make that work? You can make it work where perhaps you can move temporarily until the deal is done, so you could keep your house while renting a house in a new state for, let's say, the next year or two until the deal is done. Or better yet, you could do something else where, I mean, it's a little more difficult, but you can travel. You could travel part of the week. Or best yet, which is actually much more likely and more acceptable today, is that because they're requiring the company to move, you could say, listen, I can't move right away. I want to work remotely, which really right now, a lot of companies are having their employees work remotely. One of my students, who's in Silicon Valley, he recently said his whole company went remote. Like even after coronavirus is done and they have a cure, which I don't think is ever going to happen. But let's say they do a cure that actually doesn't kill people, they're not going to come back to an office. Why? It doesn't make sense to them anymore. Why have this whole big structure of office and so on? You could just do everything that you do from working with your pajamas. So they ended up giving everybody a raise because they don't have to spend money on real estate anymore. And everybody's working out of their house. And now, of course, everybody has to have goals and so on. Now, this is not easy to manage for certain businesses, but the point being is that you have some choices in your hand, even if you do have to move. But until then, don't worry about it. Don't worry about something that you have no control over. And once it happens, know that this is the best thing that Hashem is able to give you out of the choices that are available to you. It's for your own best interest, and work with it. Work with it. With it in a way that this is a gift from Hashem for countless different reasons. Sometimes it takes us time to realize why it's a gift, but nonetheless, it's always a gift. B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach, we're very excited to offer you the new Bezrat Hashem app 3.0. It's a newer, faster app full of Torah, lots of Kedusha by the shiurim that we do, myself, Rav Ephraim, Rav Chaim, where you'll have also newer features where you're able to use the app while you're using other applications on your phone. You'll be able to share the lectures directly from the app. You'll be able to donate online and support our Kiruv and our Torah work that we're doing. And the most exciting feature is that you'll be able to actually ask questions directly on the app and get answers from the rabbis directly from the app. This is something unprecedented, and Baruch Hashem will be able to offer it. Thank you again for all of your support. Check it out. Make sure you have the kosher Torah that will re-energize your neshama each and every single day. Kol tu b'chavatzlacha.